first question. So once you start practicing this, right, there are a lot of biological changes that happen.
Yeah.
As a human being, when we eat something,
Mm-hmm.
we do create what is called waste,
Yeah.
fecal waste, urinary waste, all the way. But once, let's say, you move away from food,
Mm-hmm.
how do you think those normal body functions are going to be affected? What about the liver and all those other things?
Oh yeah. Well, first let's get into the muscle.
Yeah.
And they got tests now that I'm glad they're really going there. Now, the oldest fasting place in the world,
Mm-hmm.
hospital, is in Germany.
Okay.
They got 70-year history. That's a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically will show you all the chronic diseases
Mm-hmm.
that not eating can do just on a fasting level.
Okay.
So 70 years. Now the West is just basically picking it up. Russia's second. They got a lot of tests coming from World War II, dealing with the effects of fasting. And the West is really just getting into it now. But today, you got the most search engines on Google
Mm-hmm.
that will tell you the health benefits of not eating.
Yeah.
So not eating will benefit anybody.
Yeah. Got it.
Dealing with all the medical benefits, dealing with the brain health and also the physical health. But now they're doing things where I thought was real good because I do have muscle. I am cut up. And people say, well, how did that happen without eating? Well, for number one, the average person never worked out
Yeah. Yeah.
without eating because that's not how we've been taught.
Yeah.
We've been taught you need plenty of protein, eat. This is what your diet should be when you're eating. And when you deal with bodybuilding, it's all in the food.
Yeah.
To be a professional bodybuilder, they eat every 2 hours to get really, really big like that.
Yeah.
But we're not trying to get real big like that. Right now, we should know that the older you get, the less body fat you have, and the less weight you have, you'll live longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we do know this. And then now they do got things dealing with a person working out, do you lose muscle? No, you don't.
Okay.
Now they're talking on the level 2 of being hydrated. That means drinking water. But you should work out without eating or eating right away and stuff like this. Just like on yoga, they say you should practice yoga on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Now let's get even deeper with it. Living on prana is different than fasting.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
do that twist now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is where it gets good.
Yeah.
So one day they did a test on a man where they had him in a room for 30 days fasting.
Yeah.
And he lost some amount of muscle mass.
Yeah.
That's fasting. The body's going into starving mode and start eating itself, going through ketosis and all this other good stuff. But when we're talking about prana, we're talking about you're getting a nourishment from other sources, where the body's still getting replenished. So they did a test on a man where he was fasting for 30 days, but they let him get out in nature and take a brisk walk
Okay.
every day.
Okay.
And he lost no muscle mass in 30 days. Lost weight that's not needed
Yeah.
when we talk about the fecal matter,
Yeah.
but no muscle mass.
Okay.
Now, what was he feeding off of? Well, even in the sciences, we came a long way. We do know a lot now, but a lot we still got to uncover. But one thing we could bring, what nature gives off and even exercise gives off, is what we call negative ions. To let people know what those are charged particles of molecules, atoms. They have more electrons than neutrons. And we got, over the last century, this isn't like it's just new. There's much research on the health benefits of a person being in nature, near rivers, near trees, on the grass, compared to being in a closed
Environment.
house system environment,
Yeah.
hardly no airflow, air conditioning that gives off positive ions. So this is credible proof now on how even health-wise, the benefits that the charged particles of nature gives to human being, hands down. So that, but in the breatharian knowledge, we're saying that's nourishment. That is nutrition. They just don't go out and use that word anymore. That's why you feel better. Just being out there, the blood pressure lowers itself. Blockages start unbreaking.
Yeah.
People start farting, start burping, and all this other good stuff. So we're saying that's nutrition. Now, when you're dealing with muscle mass, the reason also there's a science behind making muscle. Making muscle, let alone getting it deteriorated.
Yeah.
So, exercise is new to the human family.
Okay.
We take it for granted now because you hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
But only the elite and the rich on this planet once upon a time knew the benefits of exercise.
Yeah.
That's why even here in India, that yoga wasn't given to the poor person.
Yeah.
It was given to those who had high position.
Yeah.
Just by stretching the... Well, that came later in the game.
So I think yoga was always open for the masses. It's just that people, they were so engrossed in their daily lives, they could never get into it. And so if you wanted to get into yoga, then you had to be, you had to renounce everything else, because that was the only way you could. So what one yoga is called Hatha Yoga, which is famous on the west side. That's
Right.
called Hatha Yoga. But there are a lot of yoga forms. The famous one is Hatha Yoga for obvious reasons, exercise.
Right.
But to perform yoga on different types of yogas, you need to renounce a lot of your worldly
Renounce a lot, right.
Yeah.
Which a person usually was in a position to do that. Let's be
They
clear.
were, because they were in the
So
rat
this
race.
is why we say in the elite,
Yeah,
those with
but-
knowledge, because there's a reason why they give you the story of Buddha, but he comes from a wealthy family.
Yeah.
Because what comes with wealth also comes with
Time.
education.
Yeah, time.
Time and education.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Because a poverty mind isn't going to do too much with
Yeah.
knowledge you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and they don't have the time because they're just trying to make the ends meet.
Trying to
all the
make
time.
ends meet, try to survive.
Yeah.
So this is good for us to know this. So even when we bring up exercise, exercise used to be part of spirituality.
Yeah.
The expansion of consciousness. That's what spirituality is. You're
Yeah.
expanding something. And even today in the scientific arena, they're using this word consciousness. What is it? Does it exist?
Yeah.
How do you describe it? So
Yeah.
that's good that they're finally going there.
Yeah.
And what the Breatharian knowledge is saying, or what spirituality was saying in ancient times, your body and your mind, which is holistic health, the body-mind connection is the consciousness. The body is your consciousness. It just isn't stuck in your head with the brain. When a baby is born, that brain is formed and the body extends out coming from the spinal cord. That's one.
Yeah.
The central nervous system.
Yeah.
There is no separation.
Yeah.
So what we're saying on the Breatharian knowledge, you are making a body-mind connection. And now we're even getting even good today. The knowledge that the human being has in his head, the way he think of things, perceiving it, means a lot on how the organism is going to function.
Okay.
So let's go back to yoga again. You're focused on the leg. You're trying to stretch it. It's more than you just stretching it. You're putting your mind there.
Yeah.
Wherever the mind goes, the blood flows,
Yes.
the energy goes.
True.
To make that grow, to have a benefit.
Yep.
But let's go to regular bodybuilding, in the gym, lifting weights. A professional will tell you, focus on that muscle.
Exactly.
The blood goes there. See yourself doing it so it can grow faster. That's the science behind it.
That's correct.
So no matter what skill you get into, when it comes down to building a body, it's going to take a mind-body connection
Yeah.
to get the full benefits out of it.
True.
So when we work on our body, you're not going on a fast like that where I'm doing with nothing. When you're on the Breatharian journey, you are shifting your thinking, that you are nourishing from the earth.
Okay.
The cosmic energy coming down, this is why you're meditating. You can feel the cosmic energy coming through the body. I was just talking to some woman this morning, and I'm surprised she never meditated before. I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
No, I never did. So teaching somebody like that I have to come one direction. You have to learn basics first.
Yeah.
But a person who's used to meditating, a practitioner, will feel the symptoms of the energy in their hands.
Yeah.
The electricity, the electromagnetic field, the tingling that's coming through the body. That right there is energy that everybody has. So you need to tap into that, get it flowing. And then when you're doing that, that is going to be the new nourishment for the muscles.
So what I understand is mindfulness is central to anything that you do, right?
Anything you do,
So
mindfulness.
even when you say that you're exercising, you are actually doing it mindfully. You are aware that, okay, if I'm running, then these muscles are going to get developed, and then my focus is there. So focus, mindfulness, I think that is what you get even from meditation. It teaches
Absolutely.
you how to focus. Now the second part is about energy. They're talking about energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not aware whether you know it. So we have all chakras, right? So
Right.
do you believe in chakras or activation?
Oh,
of those,
absolutely.
or
We
is
do
that
have
something
energy
different?
centers.
Yeah,
And in engineering, let's just be plain. Anything that works mechanically, even our physical body,
yeah,
does have energy centers because we're dealing with physics.
yeah,
So we're not moving away from, they just used the word chakra in ancient times, which is a spinning energy center.
yeah,
So anything that's working or moving has energy centers, and one of the main ones, even if we say it or not, is our brain.
yeah.
Our brain is an
Biggest relief
organ that
center.
uses the most energy
70%.
in the body. That's
Yeah.
something to think about.
Yeah,
And we want this energy to be distributed
yeah,
all throughout the body so it can function.
mm-hmm.
So we're breaking it down to earth now.
Yeah, yeah,
In other words, you can't feel your foot and stuff like that. You're going to have problems on, the function of it. That's why there is even dealing with the system of yoga, going through the asanas, different movements detoxify different organs, getting more flexibility going through there, opening up those energies channels. Not only you got the chakras, you got what you call your nadis, then you got your, how should we say, your electromagnetic field we used to call your aura.
uh-huh.
And we got machinery now that can show people their aura that's coming off their body. So this is why this is a good age we're in as we smile.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it changes itself all the time. You can make it bigger, you can make it stronger, or you can make it weaker. And that's all determined on a lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, true. So you got to eat right. No, I can't say eat right, but you got to sleep right.
Well, let's bring it up.
Yeah.
You got to eat right.
Yeah.
Now, you did say the right thing.
Yeah,
Because we're telling people to eat your way into breatharianism.
yeah,
No, you're not going to do it right away because you were in another habit or another cycle on how the body was operating. Eating all of your life, you developed a strong habit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's basically what it's building to. Your body's going off of that last program.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in rechanging this program, you're taking it another direction on energy flow. And so there is some foods that hold higher energy charges than others.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the main one is he who eat less live longer.
yeah.
You
Last,
understand?
last.
That's the big one.
Yeah,
I mean, we got these smorgasbord boards, all you can eat. You know, this is what we created to ourselves. Your stomach is only so big.
yeah.
And even when you stretch your stomach, yes, you can. You even forget when to stop. So we do got a big thing called obesity all over the planet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, West is obese. Let's just say, like in India, we don't see how many obese people.
Right.
If you go to US, people where they have, I wouldn't say plentiful, but they're eating processed food, and
And the
its nature-
portions is bigger
big.
like no
Way bigger.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
And this has happened in the last couple decades.
yeah,
You used to get a regular soda pop. Now they got the big one that's
yeah,
3 times as big.
yeah.
So they're trapped in the food predicament big time.
Yeah. And it's like most of that food you don't need. It's just that.
Don't even need it.
Yeah, you don't need that for sustenance.
And it's very addictive, like a drug. It is a
There's
drug.
sugar, if you put it.
The
in.
sugar, the salt, the fats,
Yeah, yeah,
and if you get the right combination of that, the person is going to crave more. So they do got scientists working at big time companies to make that happen. It's just the way it is. I mean, because the nature of the beast, it deals with finances and everything else. And, so people can buy more. And then we ain't even talking about the money you got to spend for health, but we're not talking the negative parts now. Just because that exists, don't mean that you're stuck there. It takes discipline, it takes education to know that this is taking place, and you can return the tables no matter if the food is all around you or not.
So, another question comes to my mind. Like, you have been doing this for the last 20 years?
Yeah.
So, like, has anybody approached you for, scientific explanation or tested on you that how's this been done?
Oh, it always gets brought up, and there has been tests done on different breatharians already.
Okay.
The most famous one is the guy that was right here in India, Pranay Johnny.
Okay.
And I even met the doctor, and he got a book out now dealing with the research that was done on him. And in March, he showed us more about what happened during the research.
Okay.
Now, of course, dealing with national security,
Okay.
the military here in India took a lot of it which is okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It don't matter. They
Yeah.
like they got some secret
Yeah.
hidden. But anyway, that took place. Even the doctor himself said he was a skeptic at first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's usually what it takes. You should be a skeptic. You should question things that you don't understand until you find out proof and more and stuff like that. So that's number one. And there's been some other little pocket breatharians here doing tests. And people have asked me, and I'm going to be straight up with you, where's the money at? You gave money to other people. You go, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Right, because I got things I want to do. What you need to buy? Well, there's a lot of things I can think about buying. Absolutely. So I'm always game for it when you get that right condition like you did the other ones.
Yeah.
So we might as well be clear with it. So as we go on in the future, like when we deal with pranic festivals around the world,
Yeah.
this has been going on for over the last 5 years. There's a lot of medical doctors and scientists at those gatherings.
Okay.
Not to prove it wrong.
Yeah. Just to make sure that this is sustainable or prove it right, to put it other way.
Well, how do you explain it? That's because when you're
Yeah.
dealing with science, you do got a scientific
Exactly.
method.
Yeah.
Just because you see somebody do 10 days, 30 days, now you need explanations to get it down to where what happened and do everybody agree? Can everybody do the same thing? So there's a lot of what you call red tape dealing with it. And then even when you prove something, it's sort of like, let's take the eye, for instance. About a couple decades ago, they found a new location in the eye that wasn't there before. Now, you got all these eye doctors all over the planet. Now, do all of them get that new update? Absolutely not. Is the books changed in every school on the planet? Absolutely not. That's a lot of money.
It is.
And that's how people looking at it. So even when you deal with new updates on something, somebody could be going to school right now and late dealing with the information. Information is traveling so fast. It's hard for people to keep up. It's hard for new laws to be taking place. It's hard for curriculums to be changed. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
That's the thing dealing with technology. It's growing faster than what laws can regulate it. And a lot of ignorance could get out there. People misdo it. You got wrong teachings.
Yes.
Leads you the wrong way.
Yes. So all this causes more problems.
That causes more
Chaos.
problems. Then somebody will say, well, I see somebody die trying to go through the breatharian process. Well, there's people that died drinking water. There's people that died drinking juice. There's people died for eating too much turkey. Let's be clear with it.
You need a proper teacher, instructor to guide you through the whole process.
Exactly. And this isn't going nowhere soon. See, that's the thing about it. This is why we're in a good age, because when you're dealing with human development, it is on the scene like never before on many different levels. Whether if it's emotional healing, mental healing, because they even had a thing saying 1 out of 3 people got an undiagnosed mental disease. Listen at that. That's happening today.
Yep.
So that means out of 3 people you're talking, there's a mental problem going on. And I see it all the time. Whether they realize it or not. I mean, just where we at. And we could contribute that for many things dealing in society. Over radiation, we can blame it on the water. We can blame it on the food. Because if the body's sick, the mind is sick.
Yeah.
We got to be clear.
Or it is the other way around. If the mind is sick, the body is even sicker.
Oh, here we go again.
Right?
Absolutely.
So if you are talking about mental illness, if you aren't in the mood, if you're mentally not there, if you're not practicing certain things a certain way, then your body would automatically deteriorate, right? So mind comes first.
Exactly.
That's what I was arriving at. The other thing is that's why my question is, so you have scientific, like people are questioning it and they're trying to prove whether this is the right way of doing it.
Right.
And trying to explain the whole phenomena.
Right.
Now, in part of that, they're coming back to the same things, like 3 or 4 different things. So, because we have been, I would say, taught in a certain way that you need to eat food, and then that gets you to the other question in life. What about the fecal matter? Because your liver needs to process something. So, wouldn't the organs deteriorate? Number 1. Number 2, what happens if you are in a world life, right? You have a sex life. How does that work out? Does it function normally?
Right.
Two, 3 questions. Can you answer those?
All right, now this is good. And every last one of them is good. Now the one is dealing with food. See, the medical establishment is kind of telling you, but it's the wording again. It's sort of like what they did the test on Prana Johnny. They said, okay, he mastered starving. starvation.
Yeah.
That's how they'll put it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that word starvation throws everybody off. Oh,
Exactly.
he beat up on himself. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with it. And then they'll tell you the best diet around is a starvation diet. They'll straight up tell you that. But they use that word starvation where it could be scary for the average person. But they say that's the best diet around, and that's not even a diet. So you got many rats, many monkeys that they put that looks totally younger than one that's eating every day.
Yeah.
We got that down the line.
Yeah.
And if they can do it, the human can do it.
Yeah.
So we know this. So that's number one. Number two, dealing with the organs. Most people think the organs will stop working, and it's not. But just like if you go to a laboratory and they'll have different organs and different solutions. They're in their solution, they're in their environment, and it didn't shrink up nowhere, it's still there. So your laboratory is the body. The blood is still flowing. It's still oxygenated. All the organs, they're actually at their, what? Normal size they're supposed to be.
Okay.
So there's a word that they use called inflammation.
Okay.
You're inflaming your body on mostly everything you put in there. We might as well be clear with it. So your organs have to move over just to accommodate what you just put into it.
Yeah.
Instead of being in its normal function, it's expanding itself just to get rid of that. That's why fasting is so credible now. Even animals in nature back up from eating food when they get sick, so that the organs could shrink down in their normal stance. So it's not like they're going to shrivel up and it don't stop working. Now, another question people ask me, I used to look at it as being crazy, but I can see that. Do you take showers? Do you take baths? And nature is not crystal clean.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of our mind.
Yeah.
There's all natural energies in nature like radon and stuff where you could get sick.
Yeah.
So let's stop giving that, like God just made this earth just so perfect that you could get hurt if you don't use it right.
Yeah.
It takes knowledge. You could get hurt by the sun.
Yeah.
That's why we got techniques on be careful. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's how you use these energies and don't overdo it. It takes knowledge and everything. So that's number two. Now, number three, where we going with this? What was the other one you asked?
Talked about normal functioning in a
It-
life, sex life,
And then the sex life.
and all those things. Are they normal functioning? Would that hamper?
And this is what they basically saying. In spirituality, the two different hardest things was food and sex.
Yeah.
That's last today, and there's a thing today say sex sales.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing that's flying, and everybody's playing the game.
Probably the oldest profession,
Right.
and probably the biggest selling point right now.
To this day, porn is the most looked at website on the internet, hands down. So when I tell people to do their research, what are you researching? Yeah, you know a whole lot if you put that time and energy in this.
Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, going to that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy to what? Digest food and all this other stuff. We could get into that. So when the person start eating less, of course, you start gaining more energy because it don't take that much energy to be wasted
On
digesting that food and so forth.
Yeah.
So we got that. Bing. Now sexual energy. When you deal with the spinal cord, let's look at it. If anybody knows anything about electronics, you got a dipole antenna. You got an energy source at one end. We know it's the brain. It uses a lot of energy.
Yeah.
The next one at the other end is the gonad area.
Yeah.
Ovaries for the men, testicles and that spinal cord's in the middle, and it's constantly both day and night working, bringing energy up and down. Information, it don't stop.
Yeah.
Okay, we got this going on, and it works with energy.
Yeah.
Even in that book, Autobiography of a Yogi, he told them over 100 years ago, you got electricity going up your spinal cord.
Yeah.
Now, when I use that word electricity, the average person still can't wrap their head around, I got electricity going to my body. They're looking at these electronics in their house. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's just that you're a different type of organism or a machine that's using it differently.
Yeah.
But it is electricity.
Yeah.
And they're telling you in science again. All physical matter has an electromagnetic field going around the body. We used to call it an aura in spirituality.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we're just changing the wording so you can be more down to earth.
Yeah.
You are a bio machine or a bio computer.
Yeah.
So dealing with this electromagnetic field, look at that word electricity, and dealing with sexual energy. It takes a lot of energy to have sex, especially have an orgasm. because you are in a ritual where you are actually going to make another human being.
Yeah.
So it uses the best, strongest cells in the body, all this other exertion taking place, heart rate going up.
Yeah.
And they even got where you can put the brain under a scan,
Yeah.
and when it's having an orgasm, it's sort of like a blackout in the house. Boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just for that charge to go down. And if we're talking about being sustained by energy and not wasting it, you're using energy conservation.
Yeah.
This is why words like celibacy or brahmacharya is at the highest levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now people start asking questions, well, we won't have no humanity left. It's not for you. We're not talking about you. You're always going to have people having sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, as the pyramid go up, you got people who really want to go into this.
Transcending the levels.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's not on the same level at all. And certain people got certain desires off of their chest because that's what it boils down to than others. If you're a person that's born into a family where you could basically have everything you want at that time, you're not lacking nothing. You're not really thriving to be a millionaire when you get older. Why should you? Because I already have all these abnormal things. You only can wear a certain amount of shoes at one time. But if you're growing up in poverty-stricken, you want money when you get older, and that's all that's on your mind for that desire to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about spirituality, not eating. You want the big steak.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people say, well, take this knowledge to a third world country. It ain't going to do no good. Until a person is ready for it, to say, I had all those life experiences, now I want to go into this one. This is just another life experience.
Yeah.
Using the sciences, you want to see how the expansion of consciousness feels.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking for survival like that. That's why they say you should, master the survival levels, and once you're ready to get off of that, then you're ready for really true spirituality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not craving those other things no more. It
That's
makes-
something, yeah. It's something what probably even Osho was arriving at. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, probably, I'm sure you must have read something on what his thoughts were. But he was like, if you have excess of everything, then your mind automatically gets shut off. Because that part of your brain is not fulfilled. Like that
It's that
instinct is fulfilled now. So probably then you can concentrating on other things. Probably transcending the next level.
Exactly. And that's what it boils down to. You ready to focus and concentrate on the next thing because you already fulfilled that other stuff. If a person have not, it's sort of like having holes in their consciousness. It's pouring out, and it's not going to stop until it gets some type of satisfaction to fulfill that. So ain't no use even talking to that person. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is because we are creators.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So that's why you always have spirituality talking about the different levels and degrees. You're all using the same energies in creation, but there's many different levels and degrees. That's why in Masonic knowledge, they got a thing called a 33 degree, a 32 degree, there's a 62 degree, and all of this. That's just dealing with the level of knowledge where that consciousness is catering into.
Okay.
But giving it to this person who's at a degree down here, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
They
It
don't
will not
even
work.
see it.
Yeah.
It won't even work.
Exactly. Exactly true.
Oh, man.
So probably with a lot of people in breatharian technique, a lot of people would come in like you're talking about, right? They would not be like the woman they're talking about.
Right.
Never married ever in your life, and probably she would still have some cravings, food cravings or material possession cravings.
Yeah.
But how do you make sure that these guys transcend, like they get to the point where they're ready to take the next step for
Well, to show itself, you only could suppress something for so long before it'll show its head.
Yeah.
So it ain't like you got to figure out where a person's at. They're already going to reveal where they're at. They're going to reveal to themselves where they're at. That's why you're just being truthful with yourself. This is where I'm at. Now, of course, coming on these levels, you're always going to have some levels of craving. That's not what we're talking about. Because you've been catering to a habit over and over again. Of course, you program the machine like that. So to reprogram it to go into a new levels of habits, you are what? The new desire to want to do that. That's step number one, to even want to do it.
Yeah.
And then if a person continues over a period of time, you can know where they're at. Because they're continuing. They didn't give up. Where they're going to go. So it speaks for itself.
Yeah. So it's all about will.
Instead of a
mental.
fly by night, here today, gone tomorrow. That happens a lot. All you gotta do is wait. Hold your watch.
Do you also practice this?
On this journey.
Oh yeah. And see, the practice is this is a holistic lifestyle. Food freedom is a byproduct
Yeah. Okay.
of health.
Yeah.
Now, why would I say that? Because if the medical profession now telling you the best diet is a starvation diet, they just said the same thing I just said. You see what I'm getting at? It ain't like they're not there. See, on paper, you could put this down on paper and it looks good. That's one thing. Ding. But at least we could put it from the first dimension into the second dimension, which is writing.
Yeah.
Now, manifested in the third dimension, that's the next ball game. But as long as you can put it on paper, it is credible and it can happen. That's how we create everything. So there was a time we take things for granted now. You know, a flying machine in the air. We didn't think that, but once somebody kept working on it, trial and error, we could put it on paper. It didn't happen right away, but pretty soon it happened. And then we don't even look at the things we take for granted when you take a towel and pop it. But that popping sound, you just broke the sound barrier. That's powerful. Just broke the sound barrier. You did that. So these things that we're doing now, how we got vehicles that can break the sound barrier, that ain't nothing new. But the thought had to come first. Somebody had to work on it. What the best device to use? What the best position to be in? How can we make it quicker? Who would it work for? All of that start coming into play. And that's basically where the breatharian knowledge is at right now. It ain't that it doesn't work. What is the best position for that person to be in to make it happen? Where are they? Where is their consciousness? That's what and everybody don't have that consciousness. Everybody don't have the right genetics, the right body. We might as well go there. I'm glad that I at least got a body. I see one guy who was crippled up from birth. Well, that's what he's dealing with. There's no judgment. But I'm glad I don't have that body to work with, being on this knowledge, or I wouldn't be here. This is for me, not him. We're being clear. That's why they even say things, even dealing with sexual energy, if you want to use that in your spiritual growth or energy cultivation. A person got crust testicles, ain't no use to them worried about sexual cultivation.
True.
You have no energy to work with. You at least need something to work with in order to see how far it can go. If you don't got it, that's not for you.
Okay.
That's just being clear.
Got it.
So this isn't for everybody. Well, those are human being, didn't you say? No, it's not.
It's only for if you are willing to do the whole thing.
Willing to do, and you're in got the right position going on in life where you can make it happen.
Yeah.
This is just being clear with it.
Setting expectation right.
Right position, willing on making it happen. Of course, there's a sacrifice, because there is a big thing that we used to always talk about. Talent versus, the person has a talent versus hard work.
So it's ability and talent. You have some abilities and you have some talent.
They must go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. And then there's obviously the zest and zeal to do it. If you have all the talent in the world, but you do not want to cultivate it into processing it, right?
Right.
Time will go to waste.
Put in the work.
Yeah, put in the work.
Because let's just take a bodybuilder. There is what you call a bodybuilder gene. And I know you've seen people that was just kind of automatically already big, have muscles, didn't really have to lift. Already got that going for them. Now, the next step is, do they want to develop it further? They might not want to. I know people like that. So what? That's not saying it's good or bad. They just don't want that. But then there's some people who will put the work in with that and have a credible body. But they had that gene in their favor. Then you got some people that didn't have that gene going on, but they decided to at least put in the hard work. And that comes out just as incredible, but they needed something to work with at least. But it's the same thing dealing with the breatharian knowledge. Same thing. And another thing we talk about a lot is the sun. Now, the sun is the biggest energy source that we have going on for us. It's our local star.
Okay.
Most of your life is dependent on it. Only if you're extremophiles, and that's just things that can live in extreme conditions. And that's not us. Let's be clear. So everybody's living off the sun directly or indirectly. mainly directly, we might as well go ahead and say it. You're
Plants.
living in the sun's atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care if you're up at the North Pole.
Yeah.
If you're living up there, you're living off the sun still.
Yeah,
You're in this electromagnetic field, or you wouldn't even be alive.
yeah, yeah. So are you saying that we could actually harness some of sun's energy, channel it into our body?
We do it all the
We
time.
are doing it.
You do it just by breathing.
Yeah, okay.
This is why breath work is what? One of the catalysts of yoga.
Okay. Yeah, yes.
You can't get away from it. Breath work is one of the catalysts because you're breathing in. What are you breathing in? We just say oxygen, because that's where our mind's been taught.
Yeah.
But it's the combination of energies that you're breathing in that's keeping you alive. Because even pure oxygen is poisonous for the body.
Yeah, you can't have it. Yeah.
There we go now. So it's the combination that's giving you life, and we're getting most of this from the sun.
Yeah.
Your carbon, your hydrogen, dealing with the fusion of the sun on what it's doing. That's where we get our nuclear arsenals from, the study of the sun.
So this actually makes me wonder one thing. Like, it's on the extreme side, which might not be applicable to us. So what we are saying is, let's say if we stop eating food, let's say if we start tracking breathlessness, and if we were to have a hypothetical situation in which we move the person out of earth, out of the influence of sun, then that person might not survive because all energy sources are taken from him. There's no food and there's no sun.
Right.
So that will be a tricky. So are we then saying that there's cosmic energy also involved?
Well, we deal with cosmic energy.
Yeah.
That's all energies coming from off the planet.
Yeah.
And I think I said earlier, our sun is our local star, that we have more of an influx or an influence on this planet. But when you look at the night sky and see all the stars, those are other suns.
Yeah.
And if you can see it,
You are getting energized.
you're getting energized from it. It's touching you. If a person realizes that or not, or you wouldn't even be able to see that frequency.
Yeah.
So it's still bombarding the earth with all these cosmic energies. So leaving that earth's atmosphere, it ain't like you're not going to have no cosmic energy out there. Matter of fact, you'll have so much, that's why we got an atmosphere to protect us.
So
Whoa. Let's get into it now. Well, that's what we're dealing with. Powerful energies. And we don't know what might happen. That's for the future to see.
this pendant you are wearing also is an energy pendant?
Oh yeah, dealing with crystals and stuff, and we got this all in our blood. I mean, different things, but do the same thing. See, like when we deal with copper, this dealing with our electricity. That we deal with wiring the house.
Yeah.
So these are all things that are conductive for energy flow. That's why we use them for health.
Yeah.
It ain't like we just picked it up just to pick it up. It goes hand in hand for the electrons to go smoothly through the body. That's why we deal with magnetic therapy. Biophoton therapy, dealing with light. We got sound therapy. All of these is dealing with the energy to break up blockages so you can feel healthier. They're all credible, they all work, and that's what the Breatharian knowledge is dealing with on every level.
So if we are becoming so I would call this Breatharian knowledge is probably making us move away from materialist consumption to more energy conscious consumption. So then any of the side products from our body, like stool and urine, should not be produced, right? In that case, so we don't have production, or do we have production of such fecal matter?
Well, when you deal with fecal matter, that's just waste that the body's trying to get rid of that got inside the body that got compromised.
Yeah, by eating stuff.
And then your body is always in the cycles where it's getting rid of old cells. It ain't like it just disappeared.
Okay.
You
So
understand?
it's
So
only
your
reproduce.
body's in a cycle to get rid of things and also bring in things. All physical matter does three things. It transmits, it radiates, and absorbs energy.
Yeah.
It does it constantly or you wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, true.
But the human being is just dealing with over-toxification of the system.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. So even when you breathe out, you're breathing out waste.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. They like the Breatharian is just sitting there, not dealing with a digestive system or a body that does not work. It's working at a higher degree, actually. You have a stronger immune system than the average person because it's into doing other work compared to the other person using their energy for
Other things.
that other cycle.
Digestion, fecal matter production, all. But the production still goes on, right?
The
Even
production
with
is going on.
even with the Breatharian.
And that's the whole thing dealing with the COVID and other viruses. There'll be many more coming out.
Yeah.
A weak immune system. Let's listen at that word. A
There'll be-
weak immune system.
There'll be millions of other diseases coming out.
You got a strong immune system. Your body is designed to take on viruses, bacteria, and everything else from nature. It don't affect everybody.
Got it.
This is what we're dealing with. And you're just maintaining a strong immune system through a lifestyle. You can make it weaker or you can make it stronger.
Yeah. Nice conversation.
Yeah, this is down to earth too. See how we're bringing it down to earth?
Yeah.
Because that's how it should be, so you can wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
If you can't wrap your head around it, you're not going to accomplish nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why even something as we take for granted again, being able to heal yourself. Listen at that. On one level, we say that's a superpower. But actually, that should be natural. The body always seeks balance. It does it by its nature.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, man. Does it by its nature. That's something to meditate on right there.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, you always see somebody who do beat a chronic disease, something that's chronic.
Yeah. Like that, but that's like rarity, right? Somebody coming off stage 4 cancer, recovering fully.
Yeah, recovering fully. It does happen every once in a while just to wake us up.
Yeah.
But even that person to tell you it wasn't no fluke, that person made a decree within their mind to change their lifestyle. Because I seen people beat some chronic stuff, but it was a dedication that came from that consciousness. So there wasn't nothing wrong with the body. There wasn't nothing wrong with the technique that's being used. It's the consciousness of the person. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So all people can heal themselves because they don't have a mental mind to do that, to stick with it, to understand what's happening, to take their time, to work with themselves, to listen what their body's saying. They don't have that. That's why the breatharian knowledge ain't for everybody. If you don't have that, you have nothing coming.
Yep.
It's just real.
Yeah.
All people can't do math or like it. All people don't like reading, even though you could do it freely now.
Yeah. True.
This is an education. It is. And then we were talking about that vehicle of discipline. Of course, they talk about it a long time, especially dealing with spirituality, because you're working with yourself. And that is needed for you to stick with something. That's basically what it's saying. Stick with it.
Yeah.
That's all. We ain't got to make discipline be so hard and rigid. Stick with it. Don't give up. Stay consistent.
Keep going at it.
Keep going at it.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying. So that the body can heal itself. Now there was another one that flashed through my mind real quick. Oh, this was a good one too. Well, maybe it wasn't meant for me to say it if I can't remember it.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, but we're bringing it down to earth. So it won't be far-fetched. And then when you bring it down to earth like this, and I still hear people crying about the breatharian knowledge, try to point at different breatharians, and I'm like looking at them. When I found out about the breatharian knowledge, it didn't even get into me to go see another breatharian. I had enough tools right there. I just knew it because I already did changes on myself.
Okay.
This is how easy it should be. So what are you crying for? That's what my thought of it is. You're connected to the air. You're connected to the sun. You're connected to the frequencies of the earth. You got work to do. You can take a time out and work on yourself. So that's why it mind boggles me sometimes when I hear an organism crying on that type of level. That's what it's doing, crying for attention. That's all it's doing.
And it's crazy as well, like for me personally, when I wanted to do this and I just put that intention out to the universe,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly he was all over the internet. I've never heard of him, I didn't know, but you know, the cosmos does that, or the universe, or this intelligence just brings things to you to support whatever your intention or your desire or your will is.
That's real key.
Automatically. So if you really want something, you're going to have it.
You're going to
like
have
really.
it. With a sincere heart, putting it out there, that's basically what you're saying. The universe gave you the answers. This isn't far-fetched. We talk it sounds mythical on one level, but it's every bit as real. And to give you the right answer, the right people, the right event, so that you can work on yourself when you really want to know it. Next phase is just accepting the answer.
Yeah.
And I like how she said a real good point. Jennifer said, yeah, we at this new location. It's like paradise, right? It is paradise. I got to take advantage of this because I might not never get a chance. Now, that's deep to think about it. That's something to meditate on. The only thing that exists is now.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop putting things off. Let's take advantage of it right now. Day by day, working with yourself, working with your mind, working with nature, watching things happen.
Also, just by saying that, so many things and people and habits or whatever just automatically leave you.
Start leaving. Right, that's how powerful beings we are. Making it happen.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
And then, like I tell people too, the end goal isn't about eating or not eating. I see people beat up on themselves on that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's just a byproduct of you being in that type of lifestyle type path.
Yeah.
That's a byproduct. Have fun.
Mm.
Oh man, creating problems and there don't need to be no problem. And a friend of mine, just yesterday, she went to one of my retreats and she said, I know you're not even eating, but look at this. She showed these pictures of these dishes that they was eating. Right. She said, look at this. And I said, good for you. She said, thank you for at least showing me this.
Yeah.
It was at least a dish that she wanted. It was high energy.
Yeah.
It was. But look at this. And I had so much fun. Because if she didn't have that knowledge, she would have been beating up on herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
This time she didn't have to. That's what makes a whole difference. Wow. You have fun, right? Yeah. With her friends, with the right dish, with the right... Everything fell in line. And she was out there then, taking a nice walk on the beach, working with the energies, allowing it to flow. It ain't like that event is going to stick with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We got to be clear. Energy's always moving.
Yeah.
Like they say,
It's always
nature never shuts down.
Nature what?
Nature never shuts
Nature
down.
never shuts down, yeah.
That's why I've been here forever.
Walk on the beach sounds good.
Let her walk on the beach sound good so we can go get nourished. Oh man, this is what we're talking about. Don't make it hard. But see, nothing's wrong with the knowledge. It's just all it is. If there's any problem, it's dealing with the human being itself. That's all we're dealing. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. It's it's either your mental capacity to absorb it.
Yeah, and even on that level, there's nothing wrong of accepting your mortality. Just be clear with it.
Yeah.
Just let everybody do what they're doing. Don't jump in the way. We got to tell people sometimes, well, I just can't believe blah, blah, blah. And we're looking at you, well, of course, just go over there. Let the glucose keep working for you.
Yeah.
We're over here flying somewhere else. Can't you see?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, man, somewhere else. Even if a person did 3 days, look how they running around. I did a retreat one time where we walked a great distance. It was about the third day of the retreat. But what popped in everybody's head, we haven't been eating or drinking in 3 days, and we're walking this distance and don't feel it.
That's amazing.
That we were somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's where you need to come in those little moments of realization on what you can do. And we all know if your mind is doing something it really likes to do, it forgets to eat.
Especially with kids.
Yeah.
You see it with kids all the time.
Oh, man.
So these kids of yours, are they also practicing? Or
It's up to them what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're more into, the eldest one is more into fruits at the moment.
The little one?
The little one is little, he wants to have whatever he wants to have. And
Okay.
you can have it.
And see, that's the good thing about it. It's sort of like when I was raising my son. It ain't about forcing this on no child. All you doing is just, now them growing up around you, they're going to understand what you call healthy or what not, even though that's a belief system in itself, and understand that. But like I told people one time, it's better to grow up in a household that's eating, that's not eating.
Yeah, true.
We better nip this in the bud.
Your desires
Yeah.
would be, like, if you're not eating, you have those inbuilt desires coming in. Oh, I want to eat that steak. But if they're eating...
Well, I'm talking about, a child.
Yeah, child, yeah.
Because a child going to bed hungry is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So we must be clear on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a household, my mother had food galore, but she also made sure the rest of the neighborhood ate, those families who couldn't, and they appreciate it to this day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
3 sisters.
All three sisters. Okay.
Right, right.
And all of them are back home in States.
Oh yeah, everybody in the States doing their thing, living their life.
I'm pretty sure a lot of nieces and nephews to go around with.
Oh yeah, the whole big family is there. But the main thing is when you deal with the Breatharian message, because you might ask next, is any of them on the path?
Yeah.
When you deal with health, nobody gets away.
Yeah.
Rich, poor, freer,
Exactly.
bond, everybody's dealing with health. So eventually, like I remember when I first came into health, I'm reading the different boxes of what's in what. Everybody that don't take all that, it wasn't long before they were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't have this much salt.
You just
It
have
will
head start.
lead you there just by living. You just keep on living.
Yeah.
Every day you're gonna be jumping up out of the bed. Some mornings it's gonna be a little slower. What happened? A little too much cake last night. Just keep on living. So what we're talking about, we're talking about a health message. And if the energy's flowing, the energy channel's open, you're going to feel a lot better. And if you continue, you'll have a lot more improvements.
Yeah.
And there's energy in everything. So just like we talked about physics and everything, we was talking about that word electromagnetism.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the word I catch people with at first. But when you're dealing with physics, you're dealing with mechanical energy. You're dealing with kinetic energy. Every time you pop your knuckles, you're dealing with thermal energy. You're 100 degrees inside. You can balance out that heat. So it can burn up stuff that's what? Shouldn't be there. That's what it's doing. That's what yoga's telling you to stretch and all this other good stuff. So you're dealing with these different forms of energy and how they're manifested. You understand? You're putting it all together so you can have a better balanced system.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. And you'll get a lot more use out of it.
And you started practicing this 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
So, like, somebody introduced you into this? You said you did it
Oh,
automatically.
the way I ran into it was like a fluke in a way.
Okay.
Because, of course, I was pursuing holistic health, learning a whole lot. Fun journey. So, of course, I went through the diet changes. What does they mean by organic food, not cooking it? And what's the difference between that apple and that one? So you're having your fun.
Yeah.
I never tasted this before. Let me try that. What is juicing? You understand? What is fasting? How far, can I go? Let me be in this cycle. So you're seeing these benefits, just playing around with that knowledge. What is meditation? What is energy work? Man, I can make an energy ball with my hands. Whoa, look at this.
That is so
What is
fun.
chakras?
Can you make energy balls?
Yeah, so can you.
Yeah. And what is chakras? Like we say, are they real or not? But when you focus on different places of the body, you start feeling influxes of energy. Whoa, look, feel that. That's on me. So that's how you start knowing it's real. That's what we mean by being a practitioner. You start working on yourself. So then one day I ran into a person who said, oh, well, there's people who don't eat. They call them breatharians. And I seen this picture. I can't remember the book at all. All I saw was this picture where people was up on the mountain and their hands was like this. I was like, what? That's all I needed to see. Dun, 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 dun. So I took off to go try to find as much information as I can. Now keep in mind, 20 years ago, there was hardly no information out there. None whatsoever, whether it was good or bad or whatever. There wasn't hardly none out there. 20 years later, now I got close to 500 videos just myself.
Oh, okay.
All right?
And you are famous on Instagram and YouTube.
Doing my thing, right.
Yeah.
And not
Let me
just
just-
myself. We ain't even talk about all the other information out there. So we're in that age and it's not going nowhere soon.
So how do I find you on?
Oh, Elitom. Elitom. And I'll be the number one popping up.
Elitom.
Right there at the top.
Elitom El-Amin.
El-Amin.
And you actually have a retreat coming up on the 6th of January, don't you?
Oh, yeah, and we got our retreat coming up on the 6th of January of this month, right in Aaron Ball. Right on the beach area where the negative ions is high. Right in paradise. But this is what it's all about, working on yourself. So when I ran into the Breatharian knowledge, I've already done great work on myself. I already lost like 20 pounds. Went from 190 to 170. whole lot of energy, feeling totally different, left the meat alone, whole other being.
Yeah.
So when I ran into the knowledge and looked at it for what it really is, I said I could pull that off because I already transformed myself.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I be able to?
Yeah.
That's what popped in my mind. Maybe it's overconfidence, I don't know. That's why some people, when they get to crying about the journey, the knowledge, and try to place all breatharians at the same, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, everybody's at their different levels, doing their different things. Every year is getting stronger.
Yeah.
You just have to stay into the practices of energy and stop all that crying.
Yeah. That's why you like. I understand now why you're barefoot. You also practice breatharian, so I think you also travel around barefoot. Is it?
Oh, I love the barefoot thing. I'm gonna do some talks on this now. I'm experimenting right now. I think this is day. I don't even know what day it is. It's been about 10 days now or whatever. And I'm having fun. But there's a whole nother due to where I'm at, influx of energy I feel in the body. It's totally changed. Just by being barefooted. And the information I did find, of course, they ain't got that much scientific information, but what they do have it on is dealing with inflammation, the cardiovascular system, lowering blood pressure. That's just from walking barefooted, grounding to the earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got the electrons coming from the earth. You got that word electrons again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Charged particles coming from the earth or anything that's conductive material up through the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
That says it all for me. That's all I needed to see.
And we say in India, when you walk barefoot,
Mm-hmm.
the Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi, she scans
Listen at this.
she scans
Yeah.
all our internal organs and our feet, right? And whatever is missing, she will then give you. So if you're missing a vitamin or you're missing a mineral or you're missing a certain energetic something, it's given to you through the earth, through the feet, because this is Mother Earth.
This is very powerful just for her saying that. The Mother Earth is giving it to you right through the feet because all your organs is on your feet. And just by having this experience, I feel it ever so good.
Here's a good thing. So a lot of our culture, Indian culture,
Right.
Hinduism, Vedic tradition, is lost because of one reason or the other. A lot of it is lost in the way the rules happen. But a lot of this thing, what you're talking about, Breatharianism, was already there in a lot of I would say
Yeah.
lost knowledge in Vedas and all. So in that we had one I would say practice
Right.
in which you were supposed to walk on earth every single day wherever you could.
Right.
Like that was inculcated that you should be walking barefoot.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
inculcated. Similarly, the way you're talking about energy, I'm not sure, but yeah, the basic principle, the premise was always there.
Always there.
And it's just that it's now a lost knowledge. A lot of this is a lost knowledge.
Now check this out. Now I like how you're using that word lost, and I know what you're talking about. And as I'm looking at it now, the knowledge never was lost. The minds of the people just went a different direction.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
every
that's
culture I
the way-
do go to, I can see breatharianism there. There it is right there. Can't you see that? It's right there. That's what I see. And for me to pick it up, being way in the West, 'cause I didn't know what a Upanishad or a Veda was. I heard about them, never picked it up.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden when I pick it up, oh, there it is right there. You're already talking about our teacher was talking.
Yeah.
Now, for me to pick it up, that means it was in a sociology, the study of society, of the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we like to put down the system, but at the same time, this system is built up on top of other systems, or it wouldn't even be able to exist.
Yep.
It was already in the fabric.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, we just pinpointed it to say there's something to that. Let me see what that's talking about. Because all religions got some form of fasting within it,
Yeah. Yeah. Every religion has every
connected with divinity.
Yeah. Every religion, every culture has some form of fasting in it.
There are bees there making a home.
And now where we're at, since we said we're in the age of information, is really all over the place.
Yep.
I mean, it's so visible now. It's like a jack in the box. You can't put it down if you wanted to. You can't even give up on this if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You can have a night where you just pigged out and say, I gave up, I just can't do it. Then the next morning, I just don't feel like it. That's what happens. We're here now. We have arrived. This is the light's work. And by keeping it as being a light's work. It ain't got nothing to do with my work, somebody else's work. That's the light's work.
Yeah.
That means that every situation that you think is a problem is the light's problem. It ain't my problem of who gets it, who believe it, who do what with it. That's not my problem.
True.
I'm just glad and thankful that I'm here.
Yeah. I'm doing my own thing.
I'm doing my own thing. And now we're ready to go walk the beach soon.
Yeah. Seriously, I want to go to Sweet Lake. And be on that beach.
Oh, absolutely. So I
Nice
hope.
talking to you.
Oh, likewise.
Talking to you.
Like we said, we got.
It's like the living version of Sanatana Dharma.
Okay, yeah.
Especially when you speak to him, when you encounter him, it's like, wow, the embodiment of Sanatana Dharma is here.
That's something, ain't it? The embodiment. That means that there's like one consciousness jumping around,
Yeah.
and it could go into any vessel it wants to.
Yeah.
Whoa! But
It's the same energy, right?
I heard this one teacher say, "The reason why we got you, you was saying the same message our guru was saying." And I never met him. Really? Yeah. All my belongings was on my back for real? Yeah, he even said that. I said, "Oh, I got you." That's what happens. What? One mind, different vessels, and even our game of duality, we just make that up playing through our minds. It don't mean it's evil.
This is what I understand. See, energy, scientifically speaking, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It
Right.
can only be transformed.
Transform.
Probably energy from older gurus have come into you, and that's why it's getting manifested. So because the whole thought process is the same, right?
Whole thought process
So it's the same energy that is flowing through you, and probably this, like you have genetic code, genetic memory, you might also have energy memory. You never know. You are consuming the same energy over and over again, and that is getting channelized right now.
Because when we talk about liberation, which is freedom, all life forms seek freedom. Even a dog, okay, he'll be faithful to you as long as you feed him. You still got to make a compromise with him. Cat, he'll tell you, I'll hang out as long as, everything's all right, the right conditions. Or everything seeks freedom, so that's in us. To get some type of liberation from our conditioning.
So that's my father. Papa,
Oh, okay. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Delhi.
Oh, okay.
What about you? Goa. This is Eli.
Yeah, I met him.
Oh yeah, he already been. He met me before you did.
Oh yeah, I was sleeping. I was
He said, "Yeah, I got this."
I was wasting energy in bed.
Oh man, this is good. But this is what we're talking about. And even when we lose turn, somebody just said, "Love to be in a light body,"
Yeah.
but all we see is light. Listen at that. All we see is light. So you're already looking at light beings. But in our minds, we're trying to fantasize something else and missing the point.
Yep.
And you miss the point, you miss out on life and everything else, the experience. You're already with a light being. You be looking at them like, wow, look at that light being.
Okay.
Wow. That's how you should be. Dog walking, wow, look at that light being. He's just smiling.
Yeah.
This is what we're dealing with. And we had a talk earlier about, yesterday I had to get on a person about their their communication. And that's what humanity's struggling with too, is the communication or how we communicate with one another.
Exactly.
That's all.
I think they've stopped communicating altogether since you have distractions. There's a lot of distractions right now.
Communication. It could be a whole different ball game if we learn how to communicate. And we are, slowly but surely. We're coming out of it. It just need to be addressed. Why did you have to communicate like that? Can you set it another way? Broad it another way?
Yeah.
Or just shut up?
That's the hard one, isn't it?
That's all we dealing with till everything starts straightening out. That means a big thing. The communication, you can get a lot done.
So, and I think that when you were back in US, you were also working apart from this, right?
Working who?
Like working as in you must have had a job, a regular job.
Oh yeah. Well, see, here's the deal. because I was raising my son coming up and stuff like this. So yeah, coming into the breatharian journey, it was having a regular job. And see, that's key right there too, because when I had my bad health coming into health,
Yeah.
I also did a job transfer.
Oh, okay.
But I made up in my mind I wasn't going to get a job that was going to kill me.
Yeah.
The money don't matter.
Yeah.
As long as it can pay the things I need in life, I need time to work with myself. Because that's what got me sick in the first place, chasing money.
Yep.
And it didn't mean nothing. You couldn't even enjoy it.
Yeah.
I was at the movies one time, and I'm sitting there trying to put my arm over the chair, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm young man. What is that? I'm about to die. I don't even remember what movie it was. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah. That's when he says,
This is over with. This is ridiculous. So it had to be another way. So, of course, we're not saying a person work or not work. Like they said, if you got a job that you really like, you're not working. Let's make it real. So some people think spirituality is just sitting on the log somewhere. We're not saying that.
It's anywhere and everywhere you can get it.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily go to Himalayas to.
I'm glad he brought that up.
You can do that here. It's all about yourself. It's within you.
There we go. You don't have to go to the Himalayas. I have to bring that up to people all the time because they always try to throw that in.
Yeah.
You got to be in the Himalayas or those people out in the Himalayas. Have you ever been there? Well, no. That's what I hear. Okay. You read it in a book.
So that's a different kind of yoga, I would say. And those guys that want to go to
So
Himalayas,
don't even say those guys because I've been to the Himalayas. So I'll tell you what's out there. So don't tell me about those guys. I was just out there. Well, what y'all done read. Nice people, that's all I'm going to keep it. But you don't have to go to the Himalayas to learn the breatharian knowledge.
Exactly.
A good vacation spot. I want to go back there. Man, Yeah, I might have to run out there. Especially I'm sure the COVID is not out there.
No, they're open now, aren't they? Himachal and all those places.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, I just brought it up. But that's where we was going. Because keep in mind that the writers who was writing these books about spirituality was picking places on the planet that they never figured you'll go to anyway.
Yeah.
This is where I found them. But, okay, if you found them out there, why didn't you transition or been one of their students? But they making money off the book. So we got to be clear. Oh, you know that. What did you learn and bring back? Well, I was just recording them. All right, here we go again, playing games. People are the same everywhere with the same needs. Now, there's some environments that are more nutritious than others. Nobody's arguing that. So when it's time for you to transition on one of them, do it. But if you're in an environment that's low in nutrition, you still can make it happen. You just have to work with what you're working with. Don't expect the higher levels too until you move, but you can at least make some changes. That's what I did.
Nice. And how long have you been in Goa or India? For that matter?
Oh, India, I've been here almost close to a year now.
Okay.
8 months, running around, having fun. So it's all been good. But once again, almost beach time.
Yeah.
So we could go nourish ourselves.
I'll just stop here. So I think